The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. Skyrim is more than just a game. It's a phenomenon. From the moment you step out of that cave at the start, the world doesn't just open up, it unfolds like a massive living storybook waiting for you to write your own adventure. There's no wrong way to play it. You can follow the main quest and become the Dragonborn, savior of the world, or you can ignore it completely and spend hundreds of hours crafting armor, robbing nobles, hunting vampires, or shouting goats off cliffs. That's the magic of Skyrim, freedom. Real, unfiltered freedom. You're not told who to be, you become who you want to be. A noble warrior, a stealthy thief, a mage who shoots lightning from both hands while wearing no pants. Totally valid. And the game not only allows that, it embraces it. The world of Skyrim is vast, cold, and breathtakingly beautiful. Snow-capped mountains, dense pine forests, ancient ruins half buried in the earth. It's all brought to life with rich detail and environmental storytelling. You'll stumble across ghost stories, lost civilizations, strange artifacts, and moments that feel entirely unscripted. Every cave hides a surprise. Every village has a secret. And the dragons, they're not just set pieces, they live in the world. You'll be exploring a quiet ruin and suddenly the music swells, the sky darkens, and a dragon descends from the mountains. You fight not because the game tells you to, but because the world itself breathes. Skyrim's influence is impossible to ignore. It's been re-released more times than most games even dream of, and yet it still pulls players back in. Not because of nostalgia, but because no two adventures are ever the same. Mods have kept it alive and evolving, turning it into a platform as much as a product. It's rough around the edges. Bugs are everywhere and NPCs have the social awareness of a potato, but none of that matters, because once you're in Skyrim, you're in. It becomes yours. Your story, your world. And that's a kind of magic few games ever managed to achieve. Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 isn't just a sci-fi RPG. It's a character-driven epic that makes you feel every decision, every loss, every bond. It's the rare kind of game where the most intense moments don't happen in battle, but during quiet conversations in a ship's mess hall or just before a mission that might kill everyone you care about. It's a story about loyalty, sacrifice, and the weight of leadership, all set against the backdrop of a dying galaxy. You return as Commander Shepard, pulled back from the dead by a mysterious organization and given one goal: stop a growing threat that's abducting entire human colonies. But to do that, you'll need a team, and building that team becomes the heart of the game. Each crew member isn't just a tool for combat, they're people with pasts, traumas, ambitions, and doubts. Earning their trust isn't optional, it's vital, because when the time comes, whether they live or die will depend on how well you understood them. The writing in Mass Effect 2 is razor sharp. Dialogue choices actually matter, shaping not just your relationships, but the entire outcome of the game. And it doesn't always reward being good or bad, and it rewards consistency. Stand by your beliefs, even when it's uncomfortable and people will follow you. Waver, and they won't. Combat is much improved from the first game. Faster, tighter, more fluid. Each character brings unique abilities into the field, and how you deploy them changes the feel of every encounter. The loyalty missions, where you dive into the backstories of your squad mates, are some of the best written side content in any RPG. Emotionally charged, morally complex, and unforgettable. And then there's the suicide mission, a perfectly structured, high-stakes finale that directly reflects everything you've done up to that point. Who lives, who dies, who gets scarred. It all comes down to the choices you made, the respect you earned, and how well you understand your crew. Mass Effect 2 isn't just about saving the galaxy, it's about who you choose to be while doing it, and what kind of leader your people believe you are. That's what gives it so much power, and why it still stands as one of the greatest RPGs of all time. Bloodborne. Bloodborne is a nightmare you can't look away from, and maybe that's the point. It's fast, brutal, and completely unforgiving, but also hauntingly beautiful, rich with atmosphere, and crafted with the kind of precision most games only dream of. It's not just a Souls-like, it's From Software at their most aggressive and inspired, tearing away the shield mechanics and slow pacing of Dark Souls, and replacing them with blood, speed, and madness. Set in the city of Yharnam, a cursed place drowning in its own secrets, you play as a hunter, thrown into a world where science, religion, and cosmic horror have collided in the worst way imaginable. The streets are filled with citizens turned beasts, hunters driven mad, and things lurking above reality that should never be seen. There are no clear answers, just whispers, fragments, and symbols carved into flesh. The combat in Bloodborne is vicious and kinetic. You're pushed to be aggressive, to dodge forward, not back, to hit back when you're hurt. The regain system rewards you for taking risks, healing you if you strike fast after damage. Every weapon is a work of design brilliance, often with two forms, changing mid-fight to open up new strategies. The saw cleaver, the threaded cane, the whirligig saw. They're not just tools, they're extensions of your fear and rage. But the real terror of Bloodborne isn't in the enemies. It's in the atmosphere. The art direction is a masterpiece of Victorian decay, twisted architecture, and unknowable horror. The sound design is subtle but disturbing. Whispers in the wind, cries in the distance, the screech of something that used to be human. And the deeper you go into the game's hidden layers, the more the truth twists. What starts as gothic horror evolves into something far more cosmic, with echoes of Lovecraft and nihilism that unsettle you long after the controller is down. Bloodborne doesn't explain itself. It demands curiosity, patience, and grit. You won't get clean answers. You'll get images burned into your memory, boss fights that feel like pure survival, and lore that lives in the corners waiting for you to connect the dots. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is a love letter to the art of the samurai. Not just the warriors, but the legends, the poetry, the silence, and the weight of honor. Set during the Mongol invasion of Tsushima Island in the 13th century, this open-world action game from Sucker Punch doesn't just drop you into a war. It immerses you in a personal journey of identity, sacrifice, and transformation. You play as Jin Sakai, a samurai noble raised in tradition, who is forced to break his code to save his people. That tension between honor and necessity is the game's emotional backbone. Jin's internal struggle between the way of the samurai and the growing need for stealth, deception, and unconventional warfare is portrayed with nuance and empathy. You're not just cutting down enemies, you're constantly asking yourself who you're becoming in the process. The world of Tsushima is breathtaking. Rolling golden fields, mist-covered forests, ancient shrines on cliff edges. Every frame looks like a painting. There are no map markers cluttering the screen. Instead, the wind guides you to your destination, making exploration feel organic and spiritual. Foxes lead you to hidden shrines. Bamboo forests hide dueling grounds. The world doesn't just look beautiful, it feels alive. Combat is sharp and responsive, striking a delicate balance between cinematic flair and tight mechanics. One-on-one duels feel like standoffs in a Kurosawa film, while group battles push you to switch fighting stances on the fly. You can go in loud with your katana or use fear and shadows as the ghost. The game gives you freedom, but never lets you forget the cost of that freedom. What elevates Ghost of Tsushima is its tone. It's quiet when it needs to be, letting the player reflect. It's proud of its culture, unafraid to slow down and let you bathe in hot springs, write haiku, or simply sit and listen to the wind. The story doesn't shout, it speaks clearly and with purpose. And by the end, you don't just understand Jin, you respect him. Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium is a game that ignores almost every convention of modern RPGs and ends up creating something far more profound because of it. There's no combat system in the traditional sense, no loot treadmill, no moral binaries. What it gives you instead is a deep, surreal, and shockingly honest look into the human mind. Politics, failure, and the absurdity of existence. You awaken in a filthy hotel room with no memory of who you are. You're a detective, apparently, with a murder to solve, though your real investigation becomes far more personal. The city of Revachol doesn't care about your trauma or your hangover. It's a broken, decaying place full of broken, decaying people, and yet somehow it's still full of poetry, humor, and fragile hope. Every moment in Disco Elysium happens through dialogue, not just with other characters, but with the competing voices inside your head. Your thoughts argue, seduce, betray, and support you depending on the personality you've shaped. Willpower, empathy, logic, drama, even raw instinct. They all speak as characters, and your choices elevate or silence them as you go. It's like building a character out of philosophy, doubt, and personal demons. The writing is razor sharp. Not just smart, literary, it's bold, strange, often hilarious, and unafraid to dive into politics, class, race, addiction, depression, and existential dread. But it never feels preachy. Instead, it speaks with a kind of wounded honesty, like someone who's seen too much, but still hopes something good might come of it all. Disco Elysium is slow, cerebral, and often deeply uncomfortable. But it's also one of the most ambitious and truthful games ever made. Not everyone will love it, but those who do will carry it with them for years. The Last of Us Part 1. The Last of Us Part 1 isn't just a game. It's a story about love, loss, and the brutal things people do to protect what matters. Set in a post-apocalyptic America where a fungal infection has turned much of humanity into monsters, it's not the infected that make this world feel dangerous, it's the people, the ones who survived, the ones who will do anything to keep surviving. You play as Joel, a hardened smuggler with nothing left to lose, tasked with transporting a teenage girl named Ellie across the country. What starts as a job slowly becomes something more, a fragile bond between two people learning to care again in a world that no longer deserves it. Their relationship is the heart of the game, and every step they take across ruined cities, forests, and dark corridors carries emotional weight. Gameplay-wise, it's tense and grounded. Every bullet matters, every resource is scarce, works. Combat is brutal and improvisational, with stealth and raw violence constantly overlapping. You're not a superhero. You're someone who gets through, sometimes barely. That feeling of desperation is constant, and so is the humanity that shines through it. The original 2013 release was groundbreaking. The 2022 remake only sharpened the experience. With completely rebuilt visuals, improved AI, accessibility features, and refined mechanics, it became even more immersive without touching the story that made it iconic. The facial animations alone in the remake add layers of subtlety to already powerful performances. It's dark, it's heavy, it's unforgettable, and whether you play the original or the remake, it hits just as hard, because this is more than just a game about survival. It's a game about why we keep going. Nier Automata. Nier Automata is the kind of game that doesn't just tell a story, it asks questions, big ones, about war, identity, memory, the meaning of existence, and what it means to be truly alive. On the surface, it's an action-packed sci-fi game about androids fighting machines, but beneath that, a layered, haunting meditation on humanity, delivered through bullet hell combat, surreal moments, and one of the most emotionally daring narratives in gaming history. You play as 2B, a combat android in a world where humanity has supposedly fled to the moon, leaving android soldiers to reclaim Earth from hostile machines. But nothing is as it seems. The deeper you go, the more the world unravels, and then you meet 9S, and then A2, and then everything changes. Because Nier Automata doesn't just have one story, it has many, and you need to experience them all to understand what it's really trying to say. Combat designed by Platinum Games is fast, stylish, and constantly evolving. You'll be slicing through enemies one moment, dodging a screen full of bullets the next, hacking into enemy mines, piloting mechs, and switching perspectives without warning. But somehow it never feels disjointed. Every gameplay twist serves the narrative. Every system feels like a metaphor. The way Nier Automata plays with player expectations, breaks the fourth wall, and forces you to think about your own role in the experience is something few games have ever dared to attempt. Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas isn't just another post-apocalyptic RPG, it's the post-apocalyptic RPG, raw, reactive, and brutally honest in how it lets you shape the world around you. While it may lack the polish of its more modern siblings, it more than makes up for it with depth, choice, and some of the sharpest writing the genre has ever seen. Set in the Mojave Wasteland, you play as a courier, shot in the head, left for dead, and thrown into a political powder keg between factions vying for control of New Vegas and the surrounding regions. From the moment you open your eyes, you're free to go anywhere, ally with anyone, betray anyone, and rewrite the future of the region however you choose. That's what makes New Vegas so special. Yeah, the freedom isn't fake. Every decision matters. Dialogue choices ripple across the world. Towns will hate you or love you. Allies can turn on you. Endings vary wildly, and none of them feel like the correct one. There are no perfect solutions in the Mojave, just power, manipulation, and survival. And it's not just about the main quest. The side content in New Vegas is where the game truly shines. Factions like the NCR, Caesar's Legion, the Brotherhood of Steel, and Mr. House all have their own ideologies, flaws, and visions for the future. And the game lets you interrogate every one of them. Even seemingly minor quests often spiral into dark, philosophical dilemmas about morality, society, and human nature. Combat is classic Fallout, clunky but strategic. Portal 2 is a rare kind of genius, the kind that makes you laugh while it's blowing your mind. On paper, it's a puzzle game where you shoot portals to move through space. In reality, it's a masterclass in level design, comedic timing, and minimalist storytelling. No other game makes you feel so clever, so constantly surprised, and so emotionally invested in a robot uprising led by a passive-aggressive AI with a god complex. You play as Chell, a silent protagonist trapped deep within the decaying science labs of Aperture Science. Armed only with a portal gun, a device that links two surfaces through wormholes, you're thrown into increasingly complex test chambers. What starts as simple momentum puzzles soon transforms into multidimensional logic problems that force you to think differently. But it never feels overwhelming. The learning curve is perfect, with each new mechanic introduced naturally, letting you feel smarter at every step. And then there's the writing. Oh, the writing. GLaDOS, the sardonic AI voiced by Ellen McLean, delivers some of the sharpest, driest, most quotable lines in gaming history. She's petty, brilliant, darkly hilarious, and strangely sympathetic. Add to that Wheatley, a bumbling personality core voiced by Stephen Merchant, and you've got one of the funniest duos ever to grace a screen. Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 isn't just a game, it's a living, breathing tabletop campaign where every choice matters. every character feels alive, and no two playthroughs are ever the same. It's the rare RPG that fully embraces chaos and freedom, while somehow holding it all together with masterful storytelling, world-building, and mechanics rooted deeply in Dungeons & Dragons. You begin as a prisoner, infected with a parasitic tadpole that threatens to turn you into a mind flayer, a psychic alien horror. But instead of simply racing toward a cure, the game lets you do what great RPGs should let you do. Stop, explore, question everything, betray anyone, romance demons, free gods, or destroy the world entirely. You're not forced down a path, you create it, and the game reacts in kind. The cast of companions is one of the best in any RPG. Shadowheart, Astarion, Gale, Lae'zel, each one brings not just unique abilities, but deeply layered personalities, traumas, and goals. You can grow close to them, push them away, or shape who they become. And they're not static. They argue with you, surprise you, sometimes even leave you, just like real people. What makes Baldur's Gate 3 extraordinary is how responsive it is. Dialogue choices change entire outcomes. Entire storylines open or close depending on tiny actions. And it remembers what you've done, not just in major quests, but in the small, quiet decisions too. The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt. The Witcher 3 is the gold standard of open-world RPGs, a sweeping, mature, emotionally rich journey that redefined what storytelling in games could be. It's not just about monsters and magic, it's about people, about politics, love, war, grief, and the small, fragile moments of humanity hidden in a world drowning in blood and legend. You play as Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter, or witcher, who travels from village to castle to battlefield, taking contracts, getting involved in messy affairs, and ultimately searching for his adopted daughter Ciri, who's being hunted by a ghostly force called the Wild Hunt. But the real power of this game lies in the world around that story. Every village, every back alley, every roadside camp feels like it has its own history, its own problems, and often no easy solution. The quests in The Witcher 3 are legendary for a reason. Even the side missions are filled with complex characters and unexpected moral dilemmas. A simple job to kill a monster might reveal a tragedy. A romantic reunion might end in betrayal. It constantly challenges your sense of right and wrong. There are no color-coded outcomes, just messy consequences. The writing is sharp, layered, and mature without being pretentious. The game isn't afraid to be quiet, to let you sit by a fire with an old friend, to slow things down and allow characters to breathe. Dialogues feel natural, and the world reacts meaningfully to your decisions. Characters like Yennefer, Triss, Dandelion, and Vesemir don't just exist to serve the story. They feel like real people with their own lives and priorities. Combat is fluid and deadly. Geralt isn't a superhero. He's a professional. You'll prepare potions, oils, and spells before battle, study monsters' weaknesses, and strike with precision. Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 isn't just one of the most successful games ever made, it's one of the most complete entertainment experiences in gaming history. It takes everything the series built up to that point, the satire, the chaos, the freedom, and refines it into an open-world masterpiece that still holds up a decade later. Set in the fictional state of San Andreas and primarily in the sprawling city of Los Santos, the game puts you in control of not just one, but three protagonists. Michael, a retired bank robber with a broken family, Franklin, a young hustler trying to escape the streets, and Trevor, a complete wildcard and one of the most unpredictable characters in gaming. Switching between them in real time adds not just variety, but texture. Three wildly different perspectives on crime, ambition, and survival in a world that rewards the worst and punishes the weak. The story is sharp, satirical, and at times shockingly emotional. It's a brutal commentary on American excess, celebrity obsession, corrupt systems, and the illusion of freedom. But it also knows when to let loose, throwing you into absurd heists, high-speed chases, drug-fueled hallucinations, and chaotic gunfights that escalate into full-blown cinematic set pieces. Mechanically, Grand Theft Auto 5 is rock solid. Driving feels tight, gunplay is satisfying, and every system, and from stealth to skydiving, feels like it was given real attention. There's so much to do, from stock market manipulation to tennis, scuba diving, bounty hunting, and property management. And when you're not in the mood for missions, you can just exist in this world. Watch a movie, walk down the beach, cause havoc, or simply drive into the sunset with the radio playing. Even with countless imitators, nothing hits quite like Grand Theft Auto 5. It's a world that feels alive, absurd, hostile, and strangely welcoming, all at once. A place where you can lose yourself, build your empire, or just drive and think. Few games have defined an era. This one created its own. Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't just a game. It's a cinematic, emotional, and deeply human epic disguised as an open-world western. It's about cowboys, yes, but also about the end of freedom, the weight of regret, and the quiet beauty of a world that's fading into history. Few games aim for this kind of scope. Even fewer achieve it. Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't just hit the mark. It redefines what a narrative-driven, open-world game can be. You play as Arthur Morgan, an outlaw with a gun, a gang, and a growing sense that the life he's known is coming to an end. What begins as a string of robberies and escapes turns into something far more reflective, a story about loyalty, morality, sickness, and identity. Arthur isn't a blank slate. He's a man with depth, conflict, and vulnerability, and the way you choose to play, honorable, cruel, detached, or repentant, shapes not only how others see him, but how he sees himself. The world Rockstar built is nothing short of staggering. Snow-covered peaks, muddy towns, wind-blown plains, dense forests. Every region feels alive, not just with random events and wildlife, but with soul. NPCs remember you. Time passes meaningfully. Your horse is not just transport. It's a companion you bond with. You don't just fast travel from place to place. You live in this world. You hunt, cook, shave, write in your journal, and somehow none of it feels like filler. It feels like life. The attention to detail borders on obsessive. The way blood dries on Arthur's clothes. How people react to the weather. The subtle shifts in how Arthur speaks depending on his health or honor. Even the music, dynamic, understated, and emotionally timed, knows when to swell, when to fall silent, and when to break your heart. And then there's the story. Slow, yes, but deliberately so. Red Dead Redemption 2 takes its time to make you care. About the gang, about Arthur. About what's coming. And when it hits, it doesn't just deliver a gut punch. It delivers something more rare. Quiet devastation. The kind that lingers. Few games feel this complete. Fewer still feel this personal. Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't about saving the world. It's about watching one disappear and trying just once to do something right before it's too late.